Dear students, welcome to the online education of class 7 science. Dear students, in the previous class, I was explaining you about the different kinds of reproduction by asexual method. So those are vegetative propagation method. Then next method is budding in yeast. Then we discussed about the fragmentation process in case of algae. Okay, so regarding these three types of asexual reproduction, we have discussed in the previous class. So today's class, let us discuss the next type of asexual reproduction and the last type of asexual reproduction, that is spore formation. Okay, so dear students, we have studied three types of asexual reproduction. So this is the last type. So dear students, as you know, spore means a small kinds of uh, structures. Okay, so already in chapter number 1 we have studied about the fungi. Okay, fungi are the kinds of organisms which are do not produce any food of their own, so they get their food directly from the dead and decayed matter. Okay, they usually grow in the place in the food materials from which they can get their food. Okay, so the fungi grows on a piece of bread. Okay, so that gets that will be spread from spores which are present in the air. See, those spores were present in the air. Okay, see here you can see the spores, so they are spread out like this in the air. Okay, so you can see like this. Okay, so whenever they come in contact with any food item, they just come and they come in contact with those food item and they multiply the number, so automatically, so the food gets spoiled over there and their number increases, multiplies there. Okay, and they get their food directly, so they will be present in the air. Okay, so dear students, you must remember these all things now. So fungi which are growing on a bread piece, so they grow from the spores which are present in the air. So those spores are present in the air. Okay, so you can even repeat the same activity even by using a cotton thread. Okay, cotton like a mesh on a bread. Okay, so when the spores are released from that, they keep floating in the air. Okay, so as they are very light in the weight, so they can cover a longer distances in a very short period of time. Okay, as they are very light in weight, so spores are, so where they are very light in size or light in weight, so hence they can spread like this anywhere, right? So they keep floating in the air. As soon as they come in contact with the food item, they automatically come and collect on that. So the spores are asexual reproductive bodies. The spores are asexual reproductive parts, okay, of the production. So each spore is covered with by a hard protective coat. Each spore is covered by a hard protective coat that you can see here. Okay, each spore is covered by a hard protective coat that I can show you through the diagram. See, this is the hard protective coat. Outside you can see here. Okay, this is the hard protective coat. Okay, so later on, so this hard protective coat which allows to withstand the unfavorable conditions. Unfavorable conditions means temperature, cold, hotness, whatever it is. Okay, so this protective coat helps to withstand, means to protect itself from the unfavorable conditions such as high temperature, low humidity and coldness, such things. Okay, so they can survive for a longer time. See, if there is, okay, no hard protective coat like this, then if there is unfavorable conditions due to the heavy temperature, due to the low humidity, this can break up and the spores can damage. So in order to protect themselves, survive themselves, they have a hard protective coat. Okay, so under favorable conditions, when the conditions are favorable, so at that moment these spores germinate and develop into a new individual. So these spores, they germinate and develop into new individual. So every spore will germinate and develop into new individual, so that you have to remember, all of you. Okay, for example, the plants such as moss and ferns. Okay, the plants such as moss, moss and ferns, these are the two types of plants, so which are the two types of plants which reproduce by means of spores. Okay, they reproduce by means of spores. You have to remember these. Okay, so here in the structure you can see the reproduction through spore formation in fungi. So this is fungi. So you can see the fungi structure here. Yes, so this is the hard coat, that we call it as sporangium, and the bottom structure is called hypha. And inside the sporangium you can see the spores like this, okay, like this dot like structures you can see. So those are the spores. When the sporangium is broken, so automatically you will get the spores, and they are spread out in the air like this in this order. So they are floating in the air. So when they come in contact with the food item, they just get attached with those food item and get their food and get their nutrients from that, and they survive like this. Okay, in this manner the spore formation helps in the kinds of animals such as fungus, okay, other two organisms, plants such as moss and ferns. Okay, here you can see in case of fern, it is a kind of plant. Okay, it is a asexual reproduction method takes place in this plant. There is no seeds in this kind of plant. Okay, reproduction takes place only through spore formation. See, near the leaf you can see the dot like structures. Yes, can you see here? So these dot like structures are called spores. Sori we call them. Spore forming bodies are called sori. Okay, so dear students, I hope you have understood this concept of spore formation in this class. Okay, so dear students, let me explain about the sexual reproduction in the next class. Okay, so in the next class, let us understand the structure of flower. Okay, so as we already studied in the beginning itself, the flowers are the reproductive parts of the plant. So the male part of the flower is stamen, and female part of the flower is called pistil. So regarding this, we will discuss in the next class. Okay, let me explain in detail. Thank you and have a nice day.